welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm just going to be showing you a couple of the dinners that I make for my family. One of the things that I like to do is make a large chunk of meat in the crock pot and then stretch that meat out to make several different meals. So here's an example of how I do that with one of the pot roasts that I make. So let's get into it and let's see what I whip up for my family. Hi, if you're new, I'm Carolina and I live in Montana. I do a lot of food bank hauls, pantry cooking, and canning and preserving on my channel. If that's the kind of content you're into, I hope you'd consider subscribing. We love to have you come join our family. This is my daughter, Betty Jan. Getting eat up by skeeters though, so we gotta go. All right, let's get into the cooking. Run! Run! Ah! Hey everybody, for tonight's dinner, I have this leftover, kind of like a Mississippi pot roast that I had cooked just to get the meat cooked. And then I ended up just putting it in my freezer because I didn't have time to do with it. So this has been thawing and I'm trying to get this meat used up. Now in traditional stuffed peppers, you use ground beef. But you know what I do? I use what I have on hand. So I have that I'm using up. Here's some mozzarella cheese. A can of tomato sauce. This is some balsamic rice that I need to get used up. Some diced bell peppers and some diced onions, and that's going to turn into our stuffed pepper casserole, kind of. I guess it's not a casserole because we're not baking it. Oh, finally went through one jar of bacon grease. It's a miracle. And I like to have onions just prepped in the fridge. Onions and peppers if you can, because I cook with both, and I happen to have quite a bit of peppers. So that's what I'm throwing in there. So I just did 2 cups of peppers because I have quite a bit of peppers I need to be going through. We're gonna let that cook for a little bit. I like to, if I don't have pepperoncinis, I just use pickled jalapenos in my pot roast, guys. It works really great. And it's cooked fantastic. It held up from the freezer pretty well. I think this is gonna go great. What are some ways that you guys like to use the leftover pot roast if you have it? Half the time I cook pot roast just for the meat. I don't actually have pot roast for dinner. I just shred the meat and use it for something else. So it's pretty good though. So here's some gristle. We don't want that. And that's really all the prep I have to do with this. This is kind of a meal that I'm just throwing together here because I have everything prepped on hand and I happen to have that meat thawed. You know, that's what home cooking's all about, is using what you have on hand to make a delicious meal. Sometimes it's nice to prep when you have the extra time, or if you're in the kitchen, just prep something extra, cook it, throw it in the freezer. It really helps a lot, and it helps future, your future self will thank you. Throw a jalapeno in there. Alright, I'm gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna have more meat left over to do something else with later on. And I'm gonna throw some salt on this. Alright, put the rice on there. Alright, let's pour in the can of tomato sauce. This can looked to be about perfect. It worked out. Alright, so that's heating up. Gonna add some za'atari seasoning. Basil would be good for this. Italian seasoning, pizza seasoning. Also gonna give it a shot of Worcestershire sauce, or the Who's Your Sister sauce. All right, let's give this a try. Wow, I like it. Yeah. So I'm gonna turn it off. And then we're gonna add, I don't even need to add any seasoning. I think that was good. You know, you could also use a can of spaghetti sauce or pizza sauce instead of just plain tomato sauce, and that already has seasoning in it, like basil and oregano and stuff. All right, let's let that melt. And that's what's for dinner. Whoa. The kids are outside playing, so I'll serve it up in a minute. Oh yeah. Alright, for today's meal, I'm going to be utilizing some top ramen, the beef flavor, and then some fresh broccoli and some old pot roast. Just going to see if I can make kind of like a cheap beef and broccoli. I am going to use 2 of these packets. I ended up using a total of 3 packets for our family of 6, and I have that in there plus just 2 of the packets, not all 3 of them. You could also just skip the packets if you don't like all that sodium and then put in just beef broth or beef bouillon, you know. So now I'm just shredding the leftover pork roast. This is the one that I had used in the previous dinner as well, so I'm trying to get through that all. Putting that on top of the pasta and then putting the fresh broccoli on top of the roast and then kind of pushing it all down. So that way the noodles will cook, the roast will reheat, and then the broccoli will steam. Alright, so this is looking pretty good. The noodles are broke up. I'm going to let the broccoli steam a little longer. Of course, a brand new set, my lid's already dirty, but it has a lid that fits on there perfectly. But it's nice that I can use a different lid as well. So I'm going to give this about maybe 3 more minutes to steam that broccoli, and then we'll check on it. Alright, so this has been going for at high. It doesn't have very much water left down in there. It's pretty good. I'm going to add a cornstarch slurry to this, which is just equal parts cornstarch to water. And I'm going to add it in to thicken up that sauce down there. Yeah, that did the trick. So I'm going to turn this off. Oh, losing my broccoli. All that juice is gone now, and it's like a nice thick broth without being too saucy. I think that'll be great. Okay, and that's our cheap beef and broccoli that we're having for dinner. Yum. Alrighty, for dinner tonight, I am making some beef stroganoff. So I'm cooking. Oh, I gotta salt my water. Always salt that there pasta water. Alright, got the noodles in. Friggin'.
Can't sleeping?
Yes, Sonora Veg probably needs to get woke up and sleeping for a while. Alright, I'm gonna do a combination of butter and some garlic oil, just to help so that butter doesn't get cooked too fast. Throw in some onions. A couple cans of mushrooms. I'm gonna put those in there too. Oh, my husband.
Hi.
Thanks for coming home.
You're welcome. I want to think about it.
How are you? I don't blame you. Alright, let's add some salt. I'm going to add some Worcestershire sauce as well. Some thyme I'm going to put in. And then this is leftover ribeye meat that I had cooked in my crock pot.
Do you want me to put the last one on the bacon?
Good idea. But you can use ground beef as well. Ground beef stroganoff is delicious. Or any kind of leftover pot roast or anything like that goes really well for your protein choice. So we're going to get this all heated up. I have some mixed home canned stock here that I'm going to add. Beef broth would be best. This is a combination of like pork and turkey, just kind of whatever bones I had. I think it'll still be just as delicious. So let's get this boiling a bit. It'll help get some of this bigger chunks of meat broke down. And I got like a cup left. I'm gonna be fixing up a thickening agent for this. So you can usually make a roux, which is just the butter and fat. So I would have added flour to my mixture here before I added the beef broth in there, or the mixture broth I did. But if you forget to do that, or you need to thicken it later, then you can add just flour and water mixed together. Make sure all the clumps are out before you add it. And then as that cooks down, it'll cook that flour taste out. I'm gonna add a little more water. So if you don't have cornstarch, I do like cornstarch in the effect of it, but flour also works just as well. All right, let's give this a go. See how that thickened that up? That was probably 2 tablespoons of flour. Now I got a nice thickish gravy there. Now last time I made beef stroganoff, I didn't put sour cream in it and y'all yelled at me with reason, because stroganoff's gotta have sour cream. So I'm gonna do probably half a cup to a cup. We'll just do a cup of sour cream because we're gonna have leftovers. right, let's give this a sample.
Hey guys.
Ooh. Ooh. That's good. I am gonna put some pepper in there. The salt tastes good. You can really taste that thyme in there. Thyme and stroganoff go really well together.
Lick the clock.
Not the clock. I just want to lick thyme, man.
Hey.
Alright, I think that's all I needed to add is just a little bit of pepper. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm gonna add some of my freeze-dried parsley. I got a big bag of parsley from the food bank and I freeze-dried it, and I just love having fresh parsley on hand. I miss using it from the restaurant. Like, restaurants always add fresh parsley to everything and it makes a big difference. So it's nice having once fresh, now freeze-dried, but throw it in here. It'll reconstitute and have some fresh parsley in there. It adds a little bit of green and a little bit of freshness. So that's one trick as well that restaurants do that a lot of home cooks don't add, is just a little bit of fresh parsley to dishes. Really brings it together. All right, we got our bowl of noodles. Yeah, let's give it a try. All right, let's give this a try. That looks pretty good. Ribeye steak, egg noodles as beef stroganoff. Mmm.
Hey, guys, stop.
Tastes pretty good. I'll call that a win. All right. Let's dish it up. Them kids are hungry. And just like that, we whip up dinner in no time by having our meat cooked and prepped ahead of time. That's just one of the tricks that I use to save me time in the kitchen, by just planning ahead and getting something prepped on the weekend and using that meal. Skeeter. So if you cook a bunch of chicken breast, cook a bunch of pot roast, things like that, and then stretch it out to make several different meals throughout the week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time on Mama Baird's. Yes, Steamy.